and some of the workings with some of our clients and some of the different universities the last years, and show you a little bit of what people are doing. So that's really the only goal of the webinar. Like I said, I'll be happy to take written questions at the end. But we are a global company, like I said, Innovative Work Solutions. We specialize in project management and workflow automation, and we have the first pre-integrated enterprise collaborative platform. So again, what does that mean? It basically means that there's so many different ways to communicate nowadays between email and IM and spreadsheets. That kind of lost is a lot of information kind of gets lost, or you're not on up-to-date information. So having that collaborative environment and that workflow management, it could be the key to productivity. So we've been working the last couple of years with universities and in the higher education market, mainly because the workflow that you all are dealing with on a daily basis are so complex, and there's so many people and different steps in the process that in order to make it scalable, at some point you do need to have some type of automation tool in place. Because of that, we've kind of become a little bit of an expert in course development and in different ways that universities are going about designing their online curriculum. And what we've kind of learned is these are some of the things that people are having issues with: unclear responsibilities and failed task handoffs. There's so many people involved in the process, and there's so much workload now with building and designing the courses that, you know, handing off the current information can sometimes be a task in itself. Disconnected course planning and execution. What task are we on? When are we on it? When is the task due? A lot of that is on a manual spreadsheet basis now, or just verbal communication, and sometimes that can get lost in the shuffle. People are losing data and time from tracking information with static spreadsheets, email strings. Are you on the latest email string? Were you not on the latest email string? Were you left off an email string when you had a task responsibility? So all these things can come into play. And there's multiple systems for managing data, meaning that everybody has different reports or different ways they like to see information nowadays. So trying to get a whole team or a whole university on one type of system can be very, very challenging. And clearly, missing deadlines, and that's the key to any system, is, okay, how can we improve our productivity and hit deadlines and make sure those deadlines are realistic at the beginning. So really, a streamlined and automated critical course development process while increasing productivity without increasing resources. It would be very easy if we could go out and hire 100 people to do our job, or hire even 10 additional resources. But we all know that that's sometimes not realistic. So the key is to bring in and use technology to help try to increase productivity and try to increase, less downtime with employees, and try to increase the number of courses we can build with our current resources. Today, that's what we're going to show you, is some different technology that we've built with different universities and some of our partners in different colleges to really increase productivity without increasing resources on the human side, the human capital side. So here's the system itself. How do we increase transparency and create a team collaborative environment in the course development? A lot of people, when you're building courses, the courses are all going to be a little bit different, but we still want to keep history and approvals and changes. So that way we, if we have a course that we build once a year, we have all that data in one place. Having collaborative tasks with a single interface, meaning that we can have a discussion panel, and all the data and all those discussions or instructions can be held in one place, and have all that shared knowledge in one area is a huge benefit. But also, we need a user-friendly environment. We can't spend the time to train multiple users, especially in course development, where there may be a dean who's only involved in the process twice a year, and to try to train them on, hey, we've got to use this software system, and you're going to have to go through this training course in order to approve your process, it's just not a realistic adventure that's going to happen. So having a system that ties in directly with an Outlook or a mobile app or how you communicate today is very, very key to an implementation process. So there's ways to tie it in so that way someone who's not involved daily in the course development process, who may just have an approval or a vice president or oversight, can just have the information sent to the way they're used to communicating, right through an Outlook system where it's just a point-and-click system and they have to approve something today. So that has been very, very key and something that we've learned through the course development process, that there are members that go in and out all the time. And if you don't have a user-friendly system or a way for them to understand this process, then that's kind of just, it's a non-starter. So that ability to communicate the way you're communicating today is very, very key in any technology that you would bring in. Streamlining and automating critical course development processing will increase operational efficiency, and that's true. And the way we do our workflows is a blank canvas. So it's a very custom-oriented thing. And in later slides, we'll talk about how there's not going to be an IT involvement, or it needs to be something that can be done by the user themselves, because every course is going to have a similar workflow but multiple different parts for each one, so that that the concept is going to be the same. There's going to be a beginning and end, and these people are going to be involved in the process. But each course is going to have its unique steps in the process, where I can't call IT to configure the workflow or change the workflow, or I can't call whatever vendor is supplying something to us in order to change this, because I just don't have the time, the effort, and that's just not going to work. So by having a simple point and click and drag drop to add a step or take a step out of the process, and having open software to allow me to do that is certainly something that is going to be needed. So having that robust workflow and the ability to, with no IT background, be able to create and change workflows is very key. Real-time visibility and control on daily course development process and tasks. Everybody's looking for a way to get different information. Every university, every college has different reports that they don't want to go away with. So the tools that you bring in need to be able to have that reporting mechanism and be able to take the data and move it around into different reports the way the university or the directors or yourself wants to see the information. So our approach to that is a little bit unique, as we actually examine the reports or the information that people are looking to get out, and then we build different forms and fields within those forms to capture the correct data in order for the reports to be accurate. So by doing that approach and not having, here are the 30 reports that you can choose from, but here is the information we're looking to get out of our process on a daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, and be able to then implement the steps in the forms and gather that information and that data, so that way when you hit that button that the report's going to spit out, all that information is going to be accurate. All of that information can then be moved and exported into Excel. It's an open API platform, so again, if there's a director who wants to see an Excel spreadsheet, it's a simple click of the button and all the information and all the data goes into that Excel spreadsheet. But having those custom filters, being able to create the information that you currently are doing or what you think you currently want, will allow you then to create the different fields and forms that will be filled out on each task and gathered throughout the process. Again, I'm going to show you a little bit more of some of the different screens in here. But here's a created centralized depository of course development tasks, documents, and people. You're able to upload documents all in one place. You're able to leave instructions all in one place. Everybody's allowed to move the task along. So again, everybody involved in the course development knows where to look for all the information. And it runs right through an Outlook system or an email system, so that way we can push data to people to alert them to look here. Designed to be completed, what the next step is, where is it in the process, what are the descriptions, discussions, the history of this, people's time spent. So it allows the course developer really to control the overall process, and everybody on their team or everybody who's involved in this process can really look at and have up-to-date real-time information. So let me show you some real examples of what people have built from a workflow perspective. And I'll start off slow and show, that it can be a simple workflow, 5-step workflow process that only involves a couple people, to the real complex, which would probably resonate more with this crowd today, where it is a 100-step process and there's going to be multiple people at multiple different times within the system doing different tasks that rely on each other. So here's a simple workflow that someone built. Where this is all custom designed to whatever systems you want. You certainly can design and type in any type of step there is. But there's always going to be a beginning, there's going to be an end step. And all these steps are custom designed. You can put whatever works for your system now. So each one of these steps represents some type of a task within the course design process. And each one of these tasks is assigned to a user to complete. Once it's completed, it automatically will move to the next task and the next user in the process, and then that begins. So you can imagine there'll be no downtime. As soon as I hit up here and I hit complete, my task will automatically move to the next person within that, within the process that I set up. And all this is custom design. It could be custom design on a per course, it can be custom design on per university, per college, whatever that may be. And steps can be just added in there very, very easily. Say, okay, after this meeting, I need to have an approval. I just quickly go over here, find approval, that circle will show up here, I draw a transition, then after the meeting, it goes to approval, and then right back into the workflow. So again, because we've been doing this for a few years with some of the larger online universities, we've been able to have some different templates available, but also understand that course design work is changing all the time, and the different steps that have to be changed. That if you don't have a flexible workflow tool, that it's just not going to be used in there at all by the course designers. So here's just a larger view to make it easier. You have a kickoff meeting. The course is going to be developed, so then it goes to Blue Point. It can go in multiple different directions for dean approval, then back here and then over here. So it allows the different steps. And again, all this is automated. So you have the kickoff meeting. The people within that kickoff meeting are going to get an email through their Outlook or wherever you communicate today that, okay, we've started this new course. Biology 101 is going to be developed. Goes to the develop the course meeting, and it goes out for dean's approval. All that will start to flow through the workflow. Now we're starting to get into more complex things that people have built, because they're structural design questionnaire time, or it needed to go into an editing period of time. So it needs to have multiple ways that the work can go at different times before it gets to an end state. So you have instructional design questions on each process, you have editing parts, and again, each one of these, as the work moves, will go to whoever you have assigned the work to take a look at and to say, okay, please take a look at this course, where are we at, add your data, and then hit complete, and then moving on to the next stage in the workflow. And again, by moving it on, I'm talking about just clicking on complete. So here's an end state one where, again, you have the start and then the end way down here, but you have all these different ways that the course could go through and all different approvals and all different ways to go. And I think what people really like about the system is at any point, as the course owner, you can look in and you can highlight exactly where the course is. So this will be in a darker blue, and that will tell me, okay, my course is flowing around here and I'm at here, because we all know that you're designing multiple courses at multiple times. So to have a live look in what stage and what, where it's at in the process will allow you to obviously say, okay, we are behind, we are a week behind, I need to find some time in here to make up for when that is due. So you'll be able to have a live look in at every course that's within your workflow and exactly where it's at. Now, not only will you be able to have a live look in at that, But you could also set up that on each stage you'd be alerted when it's completed. So as the course designer, you can get as much information as you want, or as little information as you want. Hey, I want to have an email confirmation every time my course moves through a different step. Okay, that's doable. That's one click on the button. Or I want to know every time that a task that I assigned that was supposed to take 3 days, at the 3rd day, I want a reminder. Or at the 5th day, I want a reminder that it's 2 days late. Each part of our process and solution and workflow solution has the ability for the designer to set time frames and to set certain parameters on what they're doing. So once the workflow is built, this is showing how the communication actually takes place. You actually get emails through your Outlook system, or again, whatever email you're currently using, we tie into that. And here's just a look at a user's perspective that, hey, I was assigned, these tasks by a course designer or whoever it may be within the university, and these are in red because they're overdue, meaning that the person who assigned me the task said it was supposed to be 3 days before I moved this process on, yet I have not moved it on. So it's an easily visual representation of work that I have to do, work that is late, and work that is currently in my task. And again, we're working directly through Outlook, so I would just click on this, and then it would take me directly to the CommandWare system where it will give me instructions or whatever you preloaded to tell me what to do. So you can get live look-ins. Here's the different steps, the due date of the step, who's in charge of it. All this that you're seeing here is custom built. Nothing comes as, okay, I have to figure out how I'm going to make this fit into this. All these headings can be set. Okay, so if I'm in my desktop, I can do custom views of all the information I quickly want to look. Most people want to look at the title of their course they're creating, the current step it's at, maybe who's assigned it and what the due date is, and then who's received it. So I can get a live look in. I can add instructions down here, subtasks. I can look at the history. I can add discussions, and maybe one of the people that I sent the task to had a discussion question so I could answer them directly through the system. So it's just more of another way of organizing it and really giving you a summary of exactly what is going on in all the courses that you're instructed to design. Again, there's different ways to push information and group information. People like to have live look-ins, and I think the key to having this is that the data is collected on the front end with our form and field situation in order to create different reports and different look-ins to, hey, Carlo has this course due, or Jeff has this, or this is caught here, or here's where I'm at in the certain course design and by status of which ones are going to finish. Because nowadays terms are starting every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, so there's really no end time or start time where you can just draw a line and say, okay, the September time is when we need to have everything done. Nowadays it's every month there's something due, and there's a different course that we're designing, and some courses take 30 days and some take 3 months to design. So you have to have that flexibility on how you're going to report that information. So to give you a little summary of some of the technology, having a centralized environment for people, data, process, and a single point of truth is really a very good key. And again, these are some of the return on investment slides where real-time visibility into daily tasks. Just having that one place to say, okay, I have these 10 courses that are assigned to me. Here are my tasks that I need to complete for somebody else, but here are the 10 that I'm responsible for and what stage they're at. Process flows, especially approvals, handovers. Nothing can get lost in the shuffle. Nothing can get lost, meaning that, okay, I didn't know I was responsible for this task, or I didn't know that this task was due on Friday and it was going to affect this. Everything is preset and designed and configured around everything that the course designer is looking to do. And as the owner of that course, you're really able to set that at the beginning and really be able to adjust it based off of how things are going through the process. It clearly increases team productivity and collaboration. There's a lot better handoff. There's a lot better communication. There's a lot better just knowing, when instructions, or if I'm working on the latest document, the latest instructions, the latest course, what one is priority over the other, because things are always changing. So we do have a way to, an article and some different publications that we've had. We've been written up in different journals to helping design different courses. So there's certain information out there that you can go and research our company to say, okay, they really are specializing in this type of work, and have been working with some large people that are trying to scale their courses per year. So I encourage to do some research on your own and to figure out, what does Combinedware really have to offer, and what are some third-party people saying about Combinedware. So what would be next? I mean, obviously, this webinar was really just to inform you of what others are really doing out there, and based off of our system. And everything we have is custom designed. So we're looking to really educate people out there in the marketplace to say, okay, we know some of the struggles, we know some of the things that are going on out there. So why not we have some further conversations just to see if something that we could do to help to make your life a little bit easier, because you want to work with someone that has the knowledge of exactly kind of what's going on when it comes to this, this marketplace. And there's so many different companies and so many different systems out there that sometimes it's hard to go through and to find out whether there's a different need, or of what people are offering is going to work within your environment. And that's really what we were trying to accomplish today in the webinar, is to just give you a little taste of some of the things that we have to offer, and really get a feel for that some of the things that we know you're experiencing on a daily basis, we've seen others experience, and they're starting to use technology to help in that process. But we can do a customized on-site demonstration if you would like. We can just have technical demonstrations. We can have a leadership meeting, a demo. We're really a consultation type of firm where you don't have to get off this webinar and say, okay, for us to talk further or to really figure out whether there's something that we could do. There's no charge for that. There's no obligation whatsoever. We really just want to hear and see some of the different things that you're working on. Maybe we have a perfect solution for that. Maybe we don't. But if we can, then from there we'll start to work together and go, at least try to design it the way it works for you and your team. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions that anybody has. If they want to write that in, I'll be happy to answer any of the questions, and we'll go from there. And I will say that I know Danielle has plans to send this presentation out to everybody that's on this webinar, and certainly I think we'll follow up with an email and hopefully be able to have a dialogue further on maybe some of your specific needs, because this was really just a general overview of some of the things that we're seeing in the marketplace today. Our training programs and how that would work. And we do offer training. We offer weekly trial training. We offer train-the-trainer training. We really design it around what would work best for you and your team. Some universities have teams of hundreds of people, and you have to come in and train a handful of experts within that university, so that way they have someone on site to answer and deal with the daily questions that may come up. And others are smaller and are just starting out, so they only have a couple people that are involved in the course development. And we certainly would give them direct training and to make sure that they're comfortable. But we just don't hand it off and go from there. We really design it and make sure that we're always available to work with you as you're on our software or on our tools. And that goes for even 6 months down the road, where if there's a question or a different report or a different way of doing something, our support is always open to anyone that's on or is using our software. Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for joining us. And again, I know that Danielle will be following up with an email, but and we'll go from there. Thanks, everybody.